The PPL podcast is here. Mike, what is happening with you today?
Davis, what a pleasure to be back with you. This is the third week where it's just you and I. I'm so excited. Only you and I on this episode.
What are you talking about? What are you talking? It's not the two of us. We have other people. We can't sing that song this time.
Who sings that song? Do you remember?
Billy Withers.
Okay, good.
Did you
You'll
remember?
never forget that. I remember Bill Withers. Absolutely. No, I kid, of course, because we have two, not one, but two very special guests on this episode of the Pro Padel League podcast.
Mike, I need you to know I had Andre Agassi, Juan Del Potro, Pete Sampras all booked for today. I canceled them.
Of course.
To bring on these guests. This is an important day.
Okay, do it one at a time because I did a little homework and I'm like a little nervous. We have such big things in the room here, but one at a time. Who do we have joining us today?
So to my left, he needs no introduction, but I will introduce him anyways. He is a friend of mine. Don't hold that against me. He's got many titles, but he is the president, El Presidente of the Miami PC, and his name, he's from Scotland. Then he came to Canada. His name is Richard Nicolson.
Welcome.
Do you have like applause that you could put on or no? Wow, that's good. To my right, wearing all white, is the legendary, the man that I teach tennis to, that is in the men's B singles semifinal at York Rackets. That's all you need to know, but also the owner of the Miami PC. We have Ronnie Strasser.
Wow, what a pleasure it is to meet you both, Ronnie and Richard. This is great.
So I want you to start things off, Mike, because you probably have some questions for both of them. I have a lot of questions for them, nothing to do with anything with this podcast, so I'll wait. But you have some important stuff that you have to bring up, so I'll let you start it up.
Well, I have multiple important things. One is I'm a little intimidated. Ronnie is a Harvard Business School graduate. Is that true, Ronnie?
That's true.
Okay, so they'll just let anybody in there these days. Is that the deal?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty well, if you write the check, you're in.
No, in all seriousness, my main question before I pass the baton to Davis here is, I want to ask you about your wife, because I had the pleasure of meeting your wife, Sabrina Strasser, one of North America's top ballroom Latin dancers, a very, very well-known media figure. I was just in the presence of greatness, and I'm wondering if you could maybe celebrate her a little bit. And how the heck did you manage to marry such a talented and beautiful woman?
Oh, my God. He's speechless, Mike. He's never been speechless in his life. I promise you.
Sabrina, are you there? So
did she write this for you, Mike? Did she start that off for you?
All right. Very quickly, my wife is the kind of person that
goal-oriented.
What's that word? She's very driven, and she manifests what she wants out into the world. Okay. So she manifests years ago. When she was 19 years old, she used to work for my company. I had 600 employees at the time, and she told everybody at the company that I will one day marry the president. And she never even met me.
Wow.
She just knew me. She worked in one of our stores, and she used to sign her name, Sabrina Strasser, before she even met me, and told everybody, and everybody laughed at her, saying that you're completely insane. She goes, "You wait and you watch." At 25 years old, she asked me out on a date. Even she was still working. She was working for my brother, and we went on a date, and we dated on and off 5 years, type of thing.
Were you 26 at the time?
She was 25.
Oh.
She was 25. I was like,
got it.
I was like 23 and a half.
Got it.
So, she asked me out on a date, and we dated on and off for 5 years, just because I'm a guy, and you know how guys are with commitment. Anyway, let's fast forward. Eventually, we tied the knot. 2 young kids. She manifested that she wants to be famous, that she wants to be a world champion Latin dancer. The second one she's already accomplished. She's been world champion 5 years in a row.
Wow.
In Latin dancing. And then the dancing community, there's been a lot of interest in dancing worldwide, right? There's all these dancing shows. So you think you can dance, and Dancing with the Stars and blah, blah, blah. So Bravo TV came up with an idea to film and kind of track the lives of women that are, professional and amateur dancers to show really what's, what the commitment and what it really takes to get to that level. So it's a docu-series really on the background of dancing and what it takes to get there. And so Bravo went to a couple of competitions, and they asked the organizers who would be the best people for this type of show. My wife's name came up. They interviewed her. They interviewed me. The rest is history. They taped the show over the last couple of years during COVID, on and off. The show is finally ready to launch. It's called Dancing Queens. My wife is the star. They're putting on billboards all over LA. There's Bravo has gone completely cuckoo over it. You can look at Bravo TV, Dancing Queens. Look up Sabrina Strasser. She's absolutely awesome. The show is going to be great. And I can't tell you how it ends, or else I'd have to kill myself.
Mike, do we have any more time on the podcast?
Well,
or is that
listen,
it?
okay. So what I've learned is that Sabrina, she manifests things, like she thinks on big dreams and they happen. Look, she's married to Ronnie here. She's now the star of this reality show. So what does Sabrina think will happen with the Miami Padel Club? I see a schedule now. Like, I know on Saturday, May 13th, Miami is going to play their first match against the Toronto Polar Bears.
Polar
This
Bears.
is happening. Like, talk to me about Padel. What does Sabrina think the future holds for Miami's Padel Club?
He hasn't asked her yet.
Can we just call Sabrina, maybe, Mike?
Yeah.
That'll
I'm
be the
not
next
sure.
episode, Davis.
We'd have to get Sabrina's head through the door first. No, I'm just kidding. I think Sabrina is not a sports person per se. We'll start with that. She's very into dance, so she's very supportive of Padel. But she really hasn't experienced it because she hasn't really seen it, and she hasn't experienced a live match or anything like that. So it's a type of thing that she has to, she's an artsy fartsy type of person.
Gotcha.
She has to feel it, experience it,
Right.
it's got to resonate with her before she'll engage.
So Richard,
You don't know, Mike, did you know that we haven't talked about Richard's wife? She
We don't even know if he has a wife.
She just won the Bass Masters competition with the largest bass caught in Wisconsin. We can go over that a little bit. No, you didn't know this. Look at Ronnie's in shock.
Richard, I am
Ronnie actually thinks that Davis is being serious right now. He's baffled. Baffled. No, none of that is true.
Have a wife even.
I very much.
He works
do.
too
Never
much.
seen a picture of her. Nothing.
I'll show you lots later.
Okay.
But Richard, let's get serious here for a moment regarding your pro Padel team, the Miami Padel Club. How are you feeling as the season approaches? You feeling confident?
Yeah, we're feeling confident. I think that through the draft process and outsourcing players worldwide, Davis, our general manager, and also podcast personnel extraordinaire here, actually set the bar for the league. We managed to outsource two of the top players. Marta Marrero in particular is more or less the Serena Williams of Padel. So Davis worked really hard to win her over and her team over and convince her to spend another year on court competing. So we're very excited. We're feeling very optimistic. I mean, Ronnie questions the decisions that have been made on a minute-to-minute basis, but we're holding strong, Mike, with our predictions that we'll be one of the top, if not the top team, when it's all said and done. And you can put that out into the Padel universe right now. We said it. You heard it here first.
I say it every week.
Yeah, we're manifesting it.
Say it every week.
I'm texting Sabrina right now. She just said that she's manifesting a win for us, so it's going to happen.
Mike, Richard also sits on, I think there's now 7,000 committees for the Pro Padel League. I think he sits on all of them. So he's actually, in all seriousness, a huge part of, he's huge for Miami as president and pressing all the buttons and helping us. But he's also doing the exact same thing for the Pro Padel League, and from the venue to how we're going to make this whole thing run. He's a big part of that and is pushing initiatives and making sure that every T is crossed and every I is dotted. So he is actually a lot more than just the president of the Miami PC.
I'll be happy to relinquish the latter role though anytime. So
So do have a specific strategy for different teams, or like, I'm just curious, are you just, we're going to get ready to play our best match, or do you say, okay, here's how we're going to attack the polar bears? I'm just curious what the strategy is.
That's probably be a good answer for Davis,
Yeah.
actually, as a
Started
dual
playing.
role. He's the GM of the team, but
That's a good question anyway. So the May 8th is the date in which we have to submit all the rosters. So nobody can be added to the roster after May 8th. But who we play on Saturday, May 13th against the Polar Bears can be decided, I think, as early as that morning. I don't think
24 hours.
24 hours.
To submit the lineups.
To be able to scout the other team.
Yeah,
no?
yeah.
So you have a day to 2 days, Mike, to scout the rest of the lineups. But for us, there's going to be an organic, there'll be organic lineup shifts and changes based on the first weekend. These players for the most part haven't played with each other.
Yeah.
So it's a learning curve for them. They're going to have to, do a practice session on the Friday prior to match 1 on Saturday, and then really what we're giving our top female player sort of autonomy on who she's going to play with and when, and there's going to be a feeling out process match to match. And then, Davis will work with the team to sort of come up with a strategy for the rest of the season. But weekend 1 is going to be a lot of learning for everybody, quite truthfully.
Now, Davis educated me in a previous episode of the PPL podcast that the strategy employed by the Polar Bears, the Toronto Polar Bears, was to draft players from Miami. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. They wanted to have logistically everybody near the site in Tampa, and they didn't want to go and blow their brains out with costs in getting international players, especially in year 1, which I actually don't think is, they're the only team that have trained together for the last 3 weeks. So there is an advantage to that, right? They're playing together.
But they're drawing from a smaller pool, like your backyard, literally. But the fact that your strategy, which is essentially the best padel players in the world, right?
We wanted our strategy, as we talked about before, was to get the best woman. We really felt like getting the best female was going to work in our advantage, and then finding the next best man, and then pair them up with our draft picks. Because we've talked about this a lot in the podcast. If this is going to be a successful North American league, you can't have only North Americans, because I don't think the level is there yet for the eye test. I think you need to bring in some better players to help strengthen what's already there, right? Like anything, you bring someone in good, they're going to push you a little harder. It's no different in any other sport. Canada has great hockey players because there's hundreds of thousands of hockey players pushing each other to the top.
Well, go ahead.
I think that by us signing some of these top players, it's changed the dynamics of the other teams as well. What we've seen is a lot of the other teams have now followed our formula type of thing, and have gone worldwide and searched for top players in other countries that were not on the radar screen originally, but now, in order for them to remain competitive, they almost had no choice but to try to get a different caliber of player. And now you see a lot of the other teams, even recently, have signed number 1 person in Argentina, number 1 person in Britain. So there's a more of a movement to get higher quality players because really what Miami did. So that's that, and overall that's very good for the league and for competition.
Yeah, just to sort of reiterate on that, I mean, there's nothing worse than, especially when the league is in its first year, where there's lopsided victories. We want things to be competitive. We want parity. We want. Ronnie's shaking his head violently right now. He wants to see a trouncing with Miami on the right side of that. But the truth of the matter is that for a product to resonate on television and to resonate for the live audience, there's nothing better than drama. You can watch like a club championship match where 2 C players are playing, and if you're vested, it's entertaining. It's like, look at the celebrity boxing. Everyone's in, they're all in. It's interesting. You want competition.
Yeah, I can't wait to find out whether this polar bear strategy works or whether it blows up in their face. Like, we got to play this match and find out, and that's kind of what's exciting. I have no idea how that will unfold.
They're just going to melt away.
Wow, there it is.
There it is. Said it first. I think they're not going to melt away. They're going to be. It's not like they drafted poorly. The difference is they don't have any stars, right? So they're working. We have all the teams have drafted a North American player to play alongside an international player, with the exception of them. So because of that, our hope is that the international player secures the victory over a team like the Toronto Polar Bears. But if they've been training together, we also, as we've said, Mike, before, we don't know the levels of everybody. This is the first year we're running this. You have Mexico playing against Americans, playing against Spaniards, playing against. So there's 3 leagues at play here. There's the Mexican League, there's the North American League, there's the American League, and then there's the World Padel Tour.
Now, let me fast forward just a little bit because I want to get Ronnie talking about this because this is super exciting to me as a sports fan. But if you go a week later, so you have a few matches, and then Saturday, May 27, circle that on the calendar.
Yeah, Vegas, baby.
So Ronnie,
now, why is Vegas important, Mike?
Yeah,
Why is Vegas?
Well, I saw a banner. Let me set it up by saying I was at Ronnie's house for a PPL party. Fantastic, by the way. That was wonderful. I met the great Sabrina Strasser. That's like a goal achieved.
Again with Sabrina.
Oh,
With
my
Sabrina.
goodness.
Ronnie, I saw a banner. I took a photo. I don't know. Do we swear on this podcast, Davis?
We do now.
It read,
Sorry.
I believe it read, "Fuck Vegas," I believe.
Yeah.
Where did that come from, Richard?
That was your
Tell us
idea.
the story.
No, it was Sam.
I
It
know
was
nothing about
it was our head of logistics.
Okay.
Head of
Samantha
operations.
Moses, her name is.
Hold on. Let's tell the story again. So I teach Ronnie and Henry at York Rackets tennis and have
Who's Henry?
for a long time. Henry Strasser is the owner of the Las Vegas Smash.
One of the
This
owners.
is Henry Strasser is Ronnie Strasser's brother. Bam. Mind blown. Mind blown.
That's
Henry
I
couldn't-
almost say slow it down and repeat. So let me understand this. The owner of the Vegas franchise, what's the Vegas nickname again?
Smash.
Trash.
Oh, yes. It's trash. So the Vegas Smash is owned by a Strasser, the brother of Ronnie Strasser. And
Younger brother.
You got it.
Wow.
I know, it's
Not that
amazing.
complicated.
So Henry
Henry.
finds out that his older brother has bought a franchise in this Padel League, and like everything, they're competitive. So he buys one too. And then the day after he buys one, I sent Henry a simple text saying, "How's your back? He hurt his back. I'm worried about him. I'm his coach. I'm being sensitive to him." There's the little bubble that shows up on your screen. He's typing, and in all caps, "Fuck you, Miami." So we quickly shifted. Our relationship quickly shifted to where now I was a little bit of the enemy and I was a competitor of his. But no, he's been great. That was obviously a joke, but that led into
To the banner.
So
Oh.
I know you say it's a joke, but I need to dig a little deeper here.
yeah, dig
Yeah.
it.
Henry versus Ronnie, it sounds to me like it's personal. Like this matters. Do you employ any special strategy for that game? Like I'm wondering, like that's a game you guys have to win on the 27th of May.
We certainly do. And there will not be a management team left if we lose. So that's the direction. And I will be having a pep talk with the players before that match, regardless of what the Las Vegas trash do or don't do.
Mike, do you have a favorite thing you get at Dairy Queen? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I know, a blizzard with like brownies in there. I
Okay.
think. Yeah.
I will be the one serving you that blizzard if I do not do well against Vegas. That's already been decided.
Yes.
Somehow I lose my job at York Rackets too. I'm not sure how that works. But
No, I don't think that's on
the
the
competitiveness amongst with Henry and Ronnie. I mean, so we do in the thick of things. We have 2 lessons a week. They come out 3 p.m. on a Tuesday and Thursday, and they battle against each other. They yell at each other. They scream. They swear. They walk out the back door. Mostly Henry, and it's a battle every time. There's always conflict in a nice way, but not really. And they're always fighting. Now, I must say, and Henry's not here to defend himself, Ronnie has the best of Henry more often than not over the last few years. But that has just added more fuel to the fire in regards to Henry trying to come back. But it's been amazing. They're both amazing guys. It's a pleasure to be on court with both of them, and it's a pleasure to be working with Ronnie on this Padel League.
And honestly, quite frankly, the Las Vegas game is just gonna be a lot of fun. Between the teams, we're all good buddies, and we're really actually looking forward to it. So, as Henry is as well.
Our
So,
family's flying in for that? What's going on with that?
We haven't decided
we haven't
just yet.
decided. Maybe we'll bring the great Sabrina Strasser to the match.
Whoa, Mike, you
Maybe
got to
she can
come.
cut the ribbon.
You better check her schedule. She might be busy that day. Who knows? But Las Vegas versus Miami again, May 27th, and we can we covered this a couple of times, but I like to bang it home that you can actually I think it's YouTube, you can actually watch these matches live, right? As it
They're
happens.
streamed. They're streamed not live, but are they streamed live on YouTube?
That's the plan.
That's a great. These are questions for Richard. He sits on that committee.
That's the plan. And then our media stream for content with CBS will be airing the finals on an edited tape delay to what we hope to be over 100 million households throughout America.
That's bananas.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually quite unique. I mean, the PPL team, Keith Stein and our corporate partner with CBS, really have cut a great deal, but a lot of it came on the heels of the pickleball success. But it took pickleball a lot longer to get there than what it has for us. I think that there was a momentum ride there that was very helpful. Yeah, it's exciting, Mike. Like, it's very exciting. I wanted to just sort of retract for a second though. Like the FU Miami and the FU Vegas thing, that's a running thing. Like, don't underplay the fact that that's an ongoing, constant bit of dialogue between the two teams. There's not even a hello, how are you? It starts with FU Vegas and FU Miami. So
that's healthy competitiveness right there.
And I'm glad Richard is clarifying that because, in the WW here, I'll show you. I've got my George the Animal Steel here. So there's works.
Oh, wow.
It's me.
That looks like, is that Richard Nicolson? You've got a doll of Richard Nicolson?
There's works and shoots in professional wrestling, right?
Where's Bret the Hitman Hart, Mike?
Oh man.
Mike, I have a tough question for Richard. Let's put him on the spot here.
Okay, here we go.
Rich, what's the biggest stumbling block thus far for this league to take off and be successful, in your opinion? Oh boy. One thing I would say is that even though padel is a massive sport worldwide, and even though the metrics for growth worldwide are insane, it's not a known entity in America. And, they always say, if you haven't made it in America, you haven't made it. So there is certainly a very strong cultural pull in the Latin community for paddle in the United States. But the biggest challenge, I don't think it's so much for the league as it is for the sport, Mike. It's that there's no infrastructure. There's very few clubs. There's very few courts. There's very few access. Pickleball it really exploded through COVID. It's easy to set up a net. You can put it in a driveway. You could have your private home on the street. You could do just about anything. All sorts of makeshift courts are popping up everywhere, and it's super easy to play. It's like ping pong. It's like you're standing on a ping pong table. Have you played it, Mike? Pickleball?
I have not.
Yeah, but paddle's a real sport. Like, it's a real sport with a real rich history everywhere but here. So I think that once this catches on, and I know that there's people that are at a feverish pitch right now trying to open facilities and, start grassroots programs, that'll lead to like having an apex league like the Pro Paddle League or the World Paddle Tour, having tournament stops in America will bring it to the mainstream, and that'll inspire kids to want to play. And then it's our job to also create infrastructure to facilitate that. So that's the primary challenge, I would say, is lack of awareness and lack of facility at this point. But we will overcome that, and the growth will be exponential, and it'll get there.
Amazing. Now, Richard, a little background on you, if you don't mind, just a little bit. So who was Richard before he became the big boss at the Miami Padel Club?
Davis's handler, professional handler for everything.
He arranged all podcasts for me. That was his main role.
Yeah, I scripted all the podcasts. I've been in the tennis and racket space now for almost 30 years. So I'm primarily an owner operator of clubs. One of my contracts is being the director at the York Rackets Club. So I have the good fortune of sitting across from Davis and having a daily podcast of our own, usually at the expense of the Strassers and all the other members. But yeah, it's been a really pleasant opportunity. I've been actively looking at launching and opening paddle and pickleball clubs north of the border in Canada for the last couple of years, which has its own logistics and issues. But Ronnie bringing us forward and making us a part of this team has been a really enjoyable time. Like, we did a road trip, Mike, a couple of months ago to Miami to meet with our marketing team, and we spent hours and hours and hours in the car together. And the three of us said that we haven't laughed that hard in a long time, mainly because of the level of inappropriate jokes that were being told and the level of inappropriate dialogue. But the four of us, and with Samantha as well, who is an amazing person. You should have her on at some point in time. But yeah, her and Sabrina, Mike, that'll be your next podcast. You'll never hear. Might be the end of the podcast. But we've had a lot of fun, and we're really looking forward to the next few weeks and getting the matches underway.
And
Richard,
Yeah.
go ahead, Mike.
I was going to ask before we let's drop that topic there, Richard. How do you think of the performance of Davis Jamieson? Like, is he doing a great job here? I just want to know, real talk. How is Davis doing?
So, real talk, Davis is one of the funniest people I've ever met. And the truth is, if this was unfiltered and you just let him go, you would see a side of him and you'd be, tears coming down your eyes. I'm not sure you'd ever be able to air another episode, but if you let the reins off, you'd laugh your head off. He's so engaging and he's so funny and interested in people. It's why he's in the industry that he is. You can't not be a people person and do what he does. I think he's great. I think he's a natural.
And Ronnie, I want to know, just before you bought a Padel team,
Yes.
who was Ronnie Strasser? Just give us a little we know you went to Harvard, but what happened after that?
Well, my experience is operational companies. I used to run a company called Phantom, which was ladies apparel, hosiery, bodywear across North America. In Canada, we had 600 employees. In the US, we had about 1,000 employees. And about 10 years ago, we just divested of that business. This declining industry. Our main business was ladies hosiery. So my background is really operational companies. So that's what I ran for 20, 25 years. And then we sold it because it was just the right time to sell. Declining industry, we had older technology. And it was just the right time. The family was kind of done with it. So we cashed out, took the money, rolled it into real estate, and now we build condominiums in Toronto. And we're developers. We're developers of condos. So that the construction business and the real estate business is a hit or miss type of thing in terms of time. Sometimes you're really busy for weeks, and sometimes you have nothing to do for weeks. So that's allowed me to kind of divest into other areas of interest like this. And I'm a sports guy. And I'm in the semifinals.
He's had quite the run in our club championships. Mike, have you ever played competitive tennis before?
Competitive tennis? No, just.
Have you ever played? So Ronnie, how many matches have you played so far, Ronnie?
Played or won?
Played. How many?
Hundreds, thousands.
Ronnie played a match in the first round and he won that. And now it looks like he's getting a bye right through to the semifinals. So isn't that's
No. I won 2 rounds.
You won 2 rounds?
At 30-10.
Two.
Yeah, I won 2.
Oh, I digress.
Only one. The guy he's scared of me. That's all it is.
It's fear. It's mostly fear. I have a question for Ronnie and Richard. Same question I had for you last week, Mike. This is really what it's all about. Ronnie, what song are our Miami Padel team walking out to? If you could pick a song that they walk out to when they play.
Daddy Yankee song.
What song is our team? Don't make it a song that you have on your phone when somebody calls. Something else.
Wow.
I put you on the spot.
Davis.
Yeah.
It's a Beautiful Day by U2.
Is that yours?
Yeah.
Okay, Richard already answered his. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Excellent.
A couple come to mind.
You gonna tell them us today, or
Yeah, well,
Sing a few bars.
yeah, sing it.
Feeling Stronger Every Day is one that hits me from Chicago.
Yeah, that's a great song. Not a great song to come out to, but keep going. Let's try another one.
Yeah.
He has to look it up on his phone.
Give me 1 second. Talk about something else.
Talk amongst yourself. I think he's looking up this. He doesn't know what song Tiffany. I think it's called. I Think I'm Alone Now. I think I'm alone now. Hey, Ronnie, you looking that one up?
Simply
I said last week,
right? Tina Turner is simply the best.
Mike, what would you pick? What would, like, if you're representing a team, what's your song?
I would
answered
go for
this
something.
before, but-
Yeah, I'll change my answer though. Like I'm thinking now, it's like something more up tempo, maybe something like hip hop. Maybe I realized I was gonna say Kanye West Stronger, but I'm not sure if we've canceled Kanye West, so let's not do that. Let's do maybe like a Lose Yourself, Lose Yourself by Eminem or something like that.
Lose Yourself by Eminem. What'd you say?
It's a Living Thing
By
ELO.
Okay.
That's
Wow.
my
Sing
favorite
it.
song.
Sing it.
It's a living thing. It's a terrible thing to do.
Okay, we need to
Or
stop
lose.
this podcast.
We don't
now.
even need to have the song play. You
Yeah,
can
we could just
sing
sing
it
it.
as they
Yeah.
come out.
Yeah.
I said Hall and Oates last week, but I like the hip hop route that you're going. Hip hop's very good. I think an instrumental hip hop would be good as well. Something in the Wu-Tang world. What do you
We
think
change
about
the
that?
words to Straight Outta Compton? Maybe
Yeah,
Straight Outta Miami?
straight out of Tampa.
Straight Outta
Wait, do we
Tampa.
get to come out with a song?
Yeah,
I-
maybe
I-
Miami
we can do what
Sound
we want.
Machine. Have you thought of that, Davis? Miami Sound Machine?
Miami, we have
Or anything from the Miami Vice soundtrack. We could do that.
Right.
Gloria Stefan
Yeah.
all day long. I love it. I love it.
I love this, Davis. I got a real good fill of who is behind the Miami Padel Club, and you're in good hands there. I'm gonna put my good money on Miami upsetting my Toronto Polar Bears in the first match there.
I think that it's going to be a spanking like no other spanking before. I actually called Toronto the other day and said maybe don't show up for the first day and then see what happens on the second day. I don't know if that's a bad idea or not. But we're gonna end this podcast the proper way here, Mike. The way we always
gracefully.
we're gonna win gracefully, but we're gonna win. We're gonna end this way. We're gonna say the thing that rhymes with house. Oh, it doesn't rhyme. What rhymes with house?
FU Vegas doesn't rhyme with house.
Vamos!
Vamos. Vamos.